Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Fastpitch United podcast, episode number 4. This is your host, Kaylin Elliott. I appreciate all you guys for being here again and joining me on the podcast today is a super special guest, Wes Helms. Wes was a professional baseball player in the MLB for several years, had a fantastic career as well. And now he is the CEO of Camwood Bats, a training tool that helps athletes all across the country get better. So, Wes, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it. Can you talk a little bit about Camwood Bats and, where that idea came from and how it all started?
So basically, it started back, the early 2000s. Frank Gregory was the founder of Camwood, which, he's older now, and Trey Sykes is the owner of Camwood. Frank kind of gave it to Trey when Frank was ready to kind of get out and be retired. And basically how it started with a training bat, which is our hands and speed trainer, which is where everyone sees everywhere. We're in, all the Dick's Sporting Goods across the country. All the softball players you see training with Camwood, that's what they're using mostly right now is the hands and speed. That's what started the company. Like I said, in the early 2000s, I was the first major league player to use the hands and speed trainer. So I got to know the owner of Camwood through that, built a relationship with Frank, and just kind of kept going with it. When I retired, he would come set up at baseball camps that I would help with. I did a charity baseball camp every year in my hometown. He would come and, be there for that and have training products for kids and everything. So we just kind of built that relationship. And then when Trey took over, probably 4 or 5 years ago, he reached out to me and he wanted me to be more involved. He's like, look, I want you to be more involved. Let's take this thing to the next level. Let's not just be a training bat and a one-hand training bat and that's it. I want to take this to the next level with creating a membership. I want to get into game bats. I want to, explore different training bats. That's where I came in. And then he eventually named me CEO, basically to run the company. I see the day in and day outs of the company, but I really handle all the pro stuff on baseball, softball, the NIL deals, all those kind of things that, Trey knew that I would be the one to be able to do that for him because of my experience in MLB. We have baseball game bats now that are MLB approved. So therefore, he knew I could get that into pro ball, and this is only our 3rd year, and it's taken off faster than we even thought. So it's been a really good relationship with Trey and I. But that's kind of the story of where I got involved and where Camwood Bats kind of evolved, and now it's blown up to a point where we're one of the biggest training bat companies in the country, and that's what we wanted to get to because we pride ourselves in development. I don't like to say we sell products. I like to say we develop players because it's my passion and it's Trey's passion to develop young athletes across the country or across the world now that we've gotten into other countries with baseball and softball. And that's what we take pride in is development. And that's what has built this company. And that's where we're at today. And that's why we're with the Fastpitch. I mean, it's all about developing these young ladies to be the best they can be.
Yeah, definitely. That is so cool. Can you talk a little bit more in depth about some of your products and, why it would be beneficial for these athletes to use them?
Well, the biggest thing with of course, is learning how to hit the correct way. But the biggest thing with the hands and speed trainer is you're not only going to build the proper bat path that you need to be successful, but your power and exit velocity are going to go through the roof. It's going to allow you to get the most out of what your body allows you to do, to become more powerful, to hit the ball harder, which in return is going to relate to more hits, more extra base hits, and also more home runs. And that's the ultimate goal. So that's the biggest thing with our bat is it's going to take you from just being an average hitter to an elite hitter, and it's going to get the most out of what your body allows you to do if done correctly. And that goes back to the development side. We have our programs, we have our membership. If you use the training products correctly, especially the hands and speed trainer, the one-hand trainer, it's going to help you if you have a routine. And we always say this, give us 30 days this is the results and this is the range of results you will see. And we basically have about a 99% success rate with that when people buy into not only our product, but also our programs and our membership. So it's been a very, very good relationship with the players.
Wow, that's so cool. Is there an age range maybe where you think certain products work better for older kids, younger kids, pro players, college players, or is it all pretty hands-on for everybody?
I mean, you got to kind of look at it like this. The older a young male or female gets, the stronger, like pro players. Now, we're not going to see a huge exit velocity jump in a pro player. I mean, you take Taylor Pleasance, for instance, or you take these absolute elite players, Bailey Klingler, which works for us. They're not going to jump an exit velocity like a younger player in high school or college, or even, that 10, 11, 12 range. I mean, those girls are really going to see big jumps because they're still growing into their bodies. They haven't, maximized the weight room yet. They're still getting to that point. But once you're a pro player, the product is more for just maintaining what you have, maintaining that bat path, maintaining that strength level. It's more of a maintenance thing. It's like me in the big leagues. I mean, that was more of let's just keep everything where it needs to be. I'm already strong and powerful. You're not going to get much stronger when you're 30 years old in the big leagues. You've kind of tapped that strength level out. Younger players, now I would say our biggest age range is probably that 10 to 14 year age range is where most of our customers are with baseball and softball. Now you're going to see some huge exit velocity gains in those ages. I would say we've had stories anywhere from, 4 to 12 miles an hour exit velocity increases in 30 days when it comes to that age range because their bodies are adapting to that training bat with the extra weight and the way you swing it, that they're getting huge results quickly. College, once you get to high school, it might, come down just a little bit. You might be in that 2 to 8 miles an hour. You get to college, it might be a little less. We just had a text message yesterday from Jordan Meyer at University of Tampa, and she reached out to us a few months ago for some training bats, and we made some for her. She started training with them religiously. She just texted me yesterday and said she hit her first double of the season, and her ball is coming off the bat like it never has before. So every age group can get better from it, but the farther you go, the range kind of shrinks a little just because the guys and girls have gotten stronger already through the weight room and just God-given ability. So, you kind of got to look at what age the girl or guy is when it comes to the big increases you're going to get.
Right, yeah, that makes sense. Is this something that you recommend athletes train with every day, 4 times a week, every time they're in the cages? Like, what do you think is the best way for them to maximize their training?
I mean, everyone needs days off. It's like if you lift weights every day, eventually you're just going to get fatigued and wear out and your body's going to not adapt to it as much. Well, you got to have your rest days no matter what you do. I recommend the off-season training. You're going to go hard. You're going to go, 2, 3, 4 days in a row. Let's take a day off. Let's, go 5 days in a row, take a day off, just because the bat weight, a softball bat is a +6. So a 33-inch bat weighs 39 ounces, where our baseball is a +12. So that makes, you're putting that much weight in your hand, swinging it over and over and over. If you start getting fatigued or tired, you're actually going to hurt yourself because you start slowing down, which you don't want to do. You are going to get fatigued, which bad mechanics come from fatigue. We're all taught to work as hard as we can. But that's fine. That's what we want to do. But when it comes to the body doing a certain movement, when that body fatigues, you better stop for a day because you're going to start getting in bad habits. The baseball swing or the softball swing doesn't work that way. It's a skill, so it needs to be locked in every single swing. Like I always say this, like, okay, with our training bat, I'll have a kid say, oh, I swung 100 times a day. And I'm like, okay, how did you swing it 100 times? It's because I would rather you swing it 30 times and do 3 sets of 10 rather than just swinging it over and over and over and over, because now you're maximizing the effort you're putting into it, but you're also not getting so fatigued. You're going to start lacking mechanics for also slowing down, because the whole thought process and the kind of the science behind it is the only way we get more powerful as humans is to move something heavy really fast. And if we start moving that heavy object slow, we actually create slow movements in our body, and our body will remember that. So when we get in the game, our bat speed's not going to be where it's supposed to be. We're not moving the barrel through the zone quickly. That's what we do not want, because we want you to be able to move the barrel through the zone as fast as possible, but with great mechanics. If you can do that, and that's where you're going to be an elite hitter. So that's why we recommend off season, go hard, but let's take a day off after every 3 or 4 days. Let's take the day off. During the season, it's more used just for maintenance. Like, say, for instance, like the softball season starts, I always tell the girls, hey, every day you get to the field, whatever routine you do in the cage, let's pick the hands of speed trainer up. Let's take 10 or 15 swings off the tee, doing exactly what you need to do, driving the ball gap to gap, and then put it away. You're not trying to build strength during the season. You're not trying to build power during the season. The season is all about the game. The off season is where we're going to build those power numbers.
I love that you explained that. That was so well said. I'm a private pitching instructor here in Knoxville, and I have so many girls who will tell me, "Hey, I threw 100 pitches today at practice," and I'm like, "Okay, but I'm more of a quality over quantity type coach, where it's, did you do every single pitch correctly? Were your mechanics correct?" Or same thing with speed training when it comes to pitching. I have girls who will do these drills and, they're going like half speed. And I try to explain to them, hey, you're not going to get better. You're not training those fast twitch muscles the way that you need to by going half speed. You're practicing throwing slow, basically. And so it's so cool that you said that, just from a different perspective. I'm going to make sure all of my girls watch this so
Well,
that they hear it from someone other than me.
yeah, I mean, like coaches fall into the category sometimes of, we want to work them as far as we can to build toughness. And that is true. Now you do have to push yourself to a point at at some given time, that when those games, you start playing in the heat, and you start playing extra inning games and all, your body's got to learn to keep going. But baseball and softball are such a skilled sport that you have to have a progression that builds up to that. You can't just go out there the first week and say, all right, we're going, and you just run them in the ground, because you're not helping that player get better at that skill. You're just trying to build mental toughness and also seeing who's going to quit. And I understand that part. It's not football. Football, you can do that all day long. You can weed out the weak all you want to. But with baseball and softball, we have to really be careful, because like we talked about, if you start getting tired and you're doing a certain movement, you're training yourself to be slow. And you don't want that. You want every time you hit in the cage, or every ground ball you take, or every time you're on the mound working on pitching, you want your body to feel like it needs to in the game. So you're building the bat switch muscles. You're getting the whip you need with either the barrel or your arm, or whatever it is. I mean, you want your footwork on the infield. You want your footwork in the outfield to be maximum effort, but doing it the right way, because our mind is remembering everything we do. If we do it wrong, it's remembering, and it's going to build a muscle memory of doing it wrong. And that's where there's the fine line of, we got to go as far as we can, but we also have to be smart and be rested. So that way, when we train, we're getting the most out of it.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I'm so glad that you said that. Can we talk a little bit about Fastpitch United
Yeah.
and how you got involved with Fastpitch, and a little bit about maybe your relationship with Ryan?
You know, at Camwood, we're all about development, but we're also about who we work with. We're very careful in who we pick. I just don't want to just work with people in baseball and softball just to say we work with 50 different themes and we're that big of a company. No, I want to make sure the people we work with are just genuinely good people, because that's how we pride ourselves at Camwood. We care about our customers, and we always say this: people before product. And I met Ryan through a really good friend here in Birmingham, that we work with, and Ryan and I just hit it off. I mean, I could tell from the get-go of his passion. I could tell how much he cared about those girls, and that stood out to me because that's how we are. We care about getting players better. Ryan really wants the best for these players, whether it's with the Florida Vibe or Fastpitch United, whatever it is. He wants the most out of these girls, and he cares about them. He genuinely does. So therefore, first time I met him on the phone, talking to him on the phone, I literally was like, all right, this is it. We're going to see how we're going to take this as far as we can, because this is someone I want in our corner, and I want to be in his corner as well. So we got with the Florida Vibe, first of all, which was awesome because, I mean, the girls that play for that team are just elite. And then it grew into this, and it's going to grow even further. I mean, because the plans that Ryan has and the plans that are in the works with everything with Fastpitch it's going to be an absolute huge arena for girls. I mean, it's getting bigger and bigger every year, and girls sports are getting more recognition, but softball is really starting to get that recognition it needs, and it's growing fast. So yeah, Ryan, as Jerry Maguire said, he had me at hello. And once I met him, it was over. I knew we were going to take this as far as we could, and that's what we're doing right now. We're going to take it as far as we can to make sure that everybody's involved with Fastpitch is going to get better, and Camwood's going to be there to help them.
That's awesome. Which athletes are you working with specifically on the Florida Vibe?
So right now, Taylor Pleasance is one that we're really, really going to start working with. Now, don't get me wrong. All the players on the Florida Vibe, we have gotten the bats they need. And then I'm going down there. It's either at the end of May, 1st of June when they do their film day. And that's when I'm really going to start getting involved more with the girls and meeting them in person. And some of the ones I haven't really ever talked to personally, I'm going to build that relationship with them because Ryan kind of handled the product side of what we need to get them. Taylor and I now, we've talked a good bit. We've done things for her at LSU, and I know she's in the middle of coaching now. So once she finishes coaching and the season's over at LSU, her and I will dig more into more we can do with, Camwood, because she's a player that we really love. Like, we have Bailey Cleveland and Sam Shaw and, Anna Bruni, and they're just great humans, and we love them. And we love them not only for what they do on the ball field that helps Camwood, but just how they pour into everything that they do in the softball arena for young girls. And that's what Taylor's going to be. You can just see it with Taylor that she has that heart, that she wants to give back what she built. I mean, she's one of the top players in the country, and, she understands that, but she wants to give that back to the young generation so someone else can take her spot one day. That's why we are going to really start, pursuing more with Taylor once the LSU season's over.
That's great. And I agree. She's fantastic, and she's really used her platform for good. She's already done a lot to give back in the softball community, and she's got her own brand that girls can purchase Taylor Pleasance merchandise, which is really cool. I love that those types of things are starting to grow now in the softball world, and these women are getting a lot more opportunities and exposure to grow their own brand. And again, like what you said with Ryan is totally true. He's insanely passionate about the vibe, about softball, and what I've mentioned this before, but Ryan and probably you too, I don't know if you've ever really been involved in softball up until your involvement with Camwood, but Ryan, he didn't have anybody in the softball world. He's got two sons that played baseball. He played baseball, and he saw a need with the summer league. We did not have a summer league like baseball, nowhere where the girls could go and train over the summer, get better, nothing like that. And so he created that. And now, I mean, you've seen the growth of that. We already have 4 leagues now, and we're working on adding more across the country, which is absolutely incredible. And Ryan does a great job of bringing girls on to the Florida Vibe who are like Taylor, who are good people, who want to give back to the sport and want to help grow the sport. And really, that's where we are as a whole with professional softball. It's very much still in the early stages and growth stages. And we're so thankful for companies like Camwood and people like you who want to be a part of that growth and want to help build this sport and uplift these women. And so thank you for that. I as someone, I played pro for the Vibe for 2 years, and then outside of that, I've played in some other leagues. I've retired now to take on this role with Ryan, doing all kinds of different things, which has been really cool. But I appreciate people like you and organizations like Camwood who are interested in really trying to build and grow this sport.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. I mean, that means the world, and it helped me that I have a daughter. I have 2 boys and a daughter. My oldest son plays at UAB in Birmingham baseball, and then my middle is a girl, and she's a freshman in college right now in Alabama, and she was a absolute phenom volleyball player. And she didn't want to play past high school. I mean, she could have, but I watched her play in high school, and I watched the best volleyball player to ever come through that high school. She broke every record and get no recognition. I mean, no recognition. And then I see a football player basically, get nominated for Player of the Week. Didn't even get Player of the Week and get nominated, and they blasted everywhere. It's like, that's a red flag for me. Like, I get men's football is going to be a revenue generating sport for every college, high school, whatever. Get it. The money comes from football. But you can't neglect these girls getting recognition for what they're doing. So I remember I went to Trey, the owner, and I said, this was about a little over 2 years ago. I said, we're going to grow softball as big as baseball. He's like, what? He's like, 18%. I said, 18% of our revenue comes from softball. I said, we're going to get it to where it's 50-50. And he goes, let's do it. And we just started flooding the softball market, reaching out to high school girls, college girls. Then we, brought on Anna Bruni. Then we brought on Bailey Klingler and Sam Shaw. Like, we brought on people that would help us grow it, and it just took off. And we started seeing, and it's funny because just the other day, actually just this morning, Trey and I were talking, our ad numbers are actually better right now on softball than it is on baseball. And it shows us the work we put in to grow the softball paid off. And we're getting reached out to left and right now by high school girls and college girls. I mean, hey, I want to be a part of Camwood. I want to be a part of Camwood. And that means the world to me because it just showed our plan work. And we are now able to get in the softball world like the baseball world. And that's what we wanted. Even though I'm a baseball backgrounded guy, I wanted to see these young girls get recognition. And you know what? It came with, we're going to develop you and we're going to get you the products you need to get it there. And it has it's been so rewarding the last year to see that. And that's where we're heading. I mean, I hope softball takes over baseball. I hope we do way better in softball than we do. Because I'm going to tell you this, and I'll be the first one to say this. I don't care if this is all over the world. Softball players are so much more enjoyable to work with than baseball players. And I hate to even say that because I have so many baseball players I work with, and I love it. But the egos in baseball get in the way sometimes, and it puts a wall up like that drives me crazy. Because I played 12 years in big leagues and I have no ego here. Come on, if you need to tell me something to better me, let's go right now. Let's go get better. But it's not like that in baseball overall. Softball, these girls and these coaches eat it up. They want information. They want you to tell them how to get better. And it's so much fun to work with girls. Like I get in the cage with them and we get going doing things and we start working, and just to see how they take it in is so rewarding. I'm like, golly, I love this. Like they're so coachable. They're so much fun to work with. I mean, it's just, I hate to say it. I've enjoyed being in the softball arena the last year, even over the baseball.
And it's funny, you're not the first person that I've heard say that. I have heard several people who have come over from the baseball side of things who have just talked about how much they have fallen in love with softball and fallen in love with the girls. I mean, I played at Florida State, and Troy Cameron is one of the assistant coaches there. He played Major League for a little while, and he coached baseball all the way up until his first softball gig actually ever was at Florida State. And so he had a lot of things to learn in, those first couple of years. But I remember having conversations with him about that and him saying how much he absolutely loved working with the girls. And I mean, he's fantastic. I didn't really get to work with him because I was a pitcher and I didn't hit, but just being around him and getting to see him enjoy that transition was really cool. And so I totally get it. I've talked to several people who have switched over, and my dad being one of them. My dad played baseball and had 3 girls, so he had no choice but to
Right.
get involved in
Okay.
girls sports. And now, he says sometimes he has a hard time even watching baseball because he's gotten so used to just the faster pace of softball, and with it being, smaller, and we've got slap hitters and a lot more short game, and
Yeah.
just everything has to be a lot quicker. And so yeah, he said that sometimes he struggles to watch baseball now because of that, but it's cool. And there are a lot of opportunities now actually for youth coming into it with Fast Pitch United. We're going to be hosting a lot of tournaments over the summer and in the fall. Camwood is going to be involved in several of those,
Yep.
as well as we're partnering with Camwood for the tournament in Lynchburg, Virginia.
Yeah.
We're super excited about that. Yep. That's going to be in October. So that, I believe it's the 17th through the 19th.
17
Yep. Yep. And that's also going to be in partnership with Liberty University, and the girls, the pro teams, the New York Rise and the Florida Vibe are going to get to play each other as well as Liberty. And then there's going to be a tournament there for youth teams to come and play. And then also Camwood, you guys are going to be involved and, have some products there for the girls to see and
Oh, yeah.
try out. And yeah, so super exciting. A lot of things going on.
No, it's great. I mean, that right there is kind of what I love. I mean, we do all our stuff online and social media, but in person, that's what I thrive off of. I mean, the owner will tell you, once you meet the owner, Trey, he'll tell you straight up, like, Wes wants to meet in person. He don't want to do a Zoom. He don't want to like text. He wants to meet in person because I love that interaction with people. And, so when we come up there, we'll have all the training bats, we'll have a spot set up where the girls can try the bats and do things. And, just having that interaction with the girls there, that means the world to me because that's how we build that relationship. And it goes back to people over product. I build that relationship with you. You gain trust in me. Okay, I could put anything I want to in your hands and you're going to trust me. And that's the way I look at it. Like, I want to build that trust with all of those young softball players that, we're here to get you better. We're not here to sell a product and make money. Yeah, that's part of it. But you know what? We're here to get you better because the sky's the limit on how far you can go. I want to watch you play in college. I want to watch you have a chance to play for the Florida Vibe or the Rise or whoever. That's what the ultimate goal is just see how far you can go. I mean, Greg Maddox always told me this. You know who Greg Maddox is, I'm sure. Hall of Fame pitcher.
I do, yes.
Always, he always told me this. When he was with the Chicago Cubs, he was a rookie. And, the pitching coach looked at him and said, hey, do you know how good you are? And Greg's like, no, not really. And he goes, well, why don't we go find out? And he goes, here's what your path's going to be. And from that day on, Greg realized that, what he needed to put into it to see how good he could really be. And I use that now everywhere. Like, hey, nobody knows how far a certain person can go, but you can put the effort in and work in to see how far you can go. And that's what we take pride out of. And that's what we'll get out of that up in.
I love that. I love that. That has been so cool to get to talk to you and learn a little bit more about Camwood and your involvement in Fast Pitch United. Thank you so much again for just being involved. Yeah, I'm wanting to help grow this sport and make the girls better, make the athletes better on all levels, and youth, college, pro. It's really cool to get to talk to you and learn a little bit more about this organization. But that is going to be all for today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening. You can obviously check out Camwood Bats on their website, also with the Florida Vibe and with Fast Pitch United. There's a lot of different links and opportunities for you guys to check out all of their stuff and get to be a part of those tournaments and get to come out and see it in person. So thank you guys again. I will talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Fast Pitch United would like to thank Camwood Bats, a proud partner in a professional space. Follow us on social media and check out all of our tournaments and events at fastpitchunited.com.